Good morning and welcome to the Phoenix City Council of Public Safety and Justice Subcommittee. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 9:32 a.m. and we will go to David Benton with City Attorney's Office regarding public comments.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the public may speak up to 2 minutes to comment on agenda items. Comments must be related to the agenda item and the action be considered by the subcommittee. The code requires that speakers must present their comments in a respectful and courteous manner. Profane language, threats, and personal attacks on members of the public, council members, or staff are not allowed. A person who violates these rules may lose their opportunity to speak, to continue to speak. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, David. And then we have call to the public.
Yes.
We have some folks who wish to speak this morning.
Our first speaker, Mr. Alexander Steen, are you on the call? Alexander Steen, are you on the call?
Yes. Yeah, I'm here. I don't know. It says a video is disabled. Is it just audio? Can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I can turn on my video, or is it just audio only?
Audio only.
Oh, okay, no problem. All right, guys, my name's Alex Stein. The reason why I'm calling in is I have concrete evidence that one of the council members, I'm not going to say councilwoman or councilman, is having an affair with my wife. I have video evidence of this affair, and the council man or woman has 24 hours to reveal themselves before I send this to the press, because the stuff in this video that they are doing, some of the utensils, some of the acts that they were doing with my wife is disgusting stuff I have never done in my entire life, stuff that I couldn't even formulate in my mind, some of the most perverted, derogatory, borderline racist stuff. And this video is going to expose somebody, and that person really needs to come forward, because right now, in this day and age of the internet, yes, the person in the video is wearing a mask, but their body type is very similar to a body type of a councilwoman or man, and this investigation is leading towards somebody on the Phoenix City Council. And so we really need to just, somebody needs to just buck up to this before it's a public embarrassment for myself, for my family, for my 6 children. I'm a Mormon individual, and my wife was a Mormon until I saw this video. Now she is probably going to be excommunicated from the church. So I thank the council members for that. So think about that now on my Sunday. How am I supposed to go to church and they've seen a video of my wife desecrating the Lord Jesus Christ? And that's not okay with me. Like I said, all my 6 children are going to have to see this. And really and truly, it's just a direct reflection of kind of the Phoenix mentality is, everybody can just swing around and hang out and everybody's casually making love. That's not okay. Listen, I'm from Texas, the Bible Belt. We actually have a little self-respect. I should have never moved to Phoenix. They call it Freaky Phoenix now, I'm realizing. Why? Because it's a bunch of perverts, it seems like. And now I have the video evidence. So, like I said, I'm going to show deference. I'm going to show kindness, and it's going to be 24 hours, because this isn't the type of video I can necessarily release, on the internet. This is a video that would be highly censored. So we're going to have to go straight to the media. So I just want you guys to know that, there could be a lump of coal in your stocking, as they say, when it comes to embarrassment. And I agree that everything in the video was very consensual, but still, nonetheless, it was very unbecoming of a gentleman. And honestly, I miss my wife. I can still smell the vodka on her breath when she kissed me goodbye.
So we have our next speaker.
The next speaker is Brian Wellington. Mr. Brian Wellington, are you on the line?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed.
All right. I was trying, I can't see myself on the webcam though.
It is audio only.
Oh, it's audio only. So, all right, does my time start now?
Yes.
All right, good. So, I just recently saw that the Joe Biden administration, they passed this whole thing. So they passing out crack pipes and they doing injection sites in New York City, you know what I'm saying? And I was gonna say I'm a little jealous because they need to start putting that stuff up in Phoenix. You feel me? Because I smoke weed all day, every day. And if y'all gonna put these crack pipes and stuff in New York, you know what I'm saying? We need to do that in Phoenix because I'm the most productive when I'm smoking weed. You feel me? I come up with my best lyrics because I'm a rapper. You know what I'm saying? My goal is to be the best rapper of all time. You know what I'm saying? The best rapper to ever live. And I feel like if y'all open up something like that, you know what I'm saying? Free weed, pre-wrapped blunts, you know what I'm saying? Joints, you get bongs up in there. I mean, y'all gonna be coming up with some crazy lyrical, dimensional stuff, you feel me? Even get like a studio in there, you know what I'm saying? Cause it's like like a whole little, place, you know what I'm saying? It's just where they got all this good stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? Put the studio in there, maybe put some PlayStations in there, you know what I'm saying? Cause I like the game when I smoke weed. You know what I'm saying? I have some of my best killing sprees on Call of Duty when I'm hitting a joint, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, damn, I'm vibing in there, you know what I'm saying? I'm on the live chat and we just on this killing spree. Actually, most recently, my oldest son came in and shut off the whole PlayStation when I was on a killing spree and Call of Duty, and it erased everything I had. So literally, it felt like my whole existence was done. But yeah, on the real, get this stuff in there. You know what I'm saying? Free marijuana, have them centers, all that. You feel me? Get it in. You feel? And I'm just gonna say this.
Next speaker, Laurel Langmain, are you on the call?
I'm here, but I can hear.
Yes, I can hear you. Please proceed.
And has recently stated that they can't relocate individuals from the street around the Human Services campus because of a Supreme Court decision which states you can't prohibit homeless people from camping in public places unless they have adequate shelter available. Well, the real problem is the city of Phoenix can't find one empty lot, one empty space to relocate the individuals living in tents. It's been a year since the number of beds were increased from 425 to 700 for the Central Arizona Shelter Services at the Human Service campuses. And as a member of the Madison Pioneer Coalition, we have negotiated in good faith for this increase. Yet the HSC continues to claim they're working safely to expand capacity. This is not true. Instead, 1 year later, crime has increased dramatically. I sent you all the city council members the numbers. There's no access to sidewalks. Activists are requesting street cleanups be stopped. Homeless people are being funneled into the neighborhood. Business owners don't have access to their businesses, let alone their customers, yet we still have to pay property tax. We are having to reinforce fencing around our property. The HSC and the neighborhoods of the Madison Pioneer Coalition need the help of the city council. Again, the real problem is the city council can't find one empty lot, one empty space to relocate the individuals living in tents. I have a suggestion. Turn Papago Park Golf Course into a homeless tent camp and relocate individuals around the HSC and elsewhere. You have a plan to address homelessness where a single neighborhood does not have to bear the brunt of the problem. Do something. Find an empty lot. Don't just hide behind a Supreme Court decision when the problem resides with a lack of action by the City of Phoenix Council. Thank you.
Next speaker, Ms. Cynthia Graber. Ms. Graber, are you on the call?
Yes, I am. Hello, all. Thank you for letting me present today. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. 2017, we had 3 net squads for the Desert Horizon. 2021, we had 2 net squads. Now we are down to 1. Phoenix population has increased by 300,000 since 2017. Desert Horizon precinct covers 75 square miles. 19th Avenue in Glendale had 6,000 calls for service in 2021. I am a neighborhood advocate who cares about the safety and well-being of Phoenix citizens, both young and old. Some days I will have sent 10 pictures of the drug dealing, doing, and overdoses into my net squad. Other days, I send pictures of prostitutes in action as well as prostitutes dealing and doing drugs. All of these pictures I send to my CAOs and my Net Squad. Our Net Squad and CAOs work together to prevent crime from happening and are able to do so inside investigative work. I work daily with my Net Squad and my CAOs. They are my community. Our Net and Bike Squads have been able to get over 110,000 fentanyl off the street last year. And this year, in 1 month, we are already at 150,000 pounds and that's already off the street. Last year, they created over 118,000 drug sale cases. They made 853 felony arrests and over 1,200 misdemeanor arrests, also seizing $175,000 in cash and eliminating 149 weapons. This year, we would have been on target to quadruple those numbers. Our CAOs are our community outreach. Our CAOs attend our block watch meetings. They collected over 1,100 turkeys for St. Mary's Food Bank last year. They are there for our Coffee with a Cop, school events, parades, and most importantly, the first person neighborhoods call when they have real problems in their community. They help define the problem and create the solution. Our communities need them. I have asked the city to grant 19th Avenue in Glendale the same safety program as 27th Avenue. If this does not happen and we lose out on our Net Squad and our CAOs, our area will be doomed. Right now, every Phoenix citizen is
This concludes our call to the public.
Thank you so very much. Our first item is minutes of the meeting. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. Item 2 is consent item. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
The second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. Item 3 is for information only, and so we will now move on to, that's the Phoenix Police Department hiring and recruitment monthly
Madam Chair,
report.
we do
Yes.
have a speaker request for item number 3.
Oh, yes, I apologize. Yes, thank you.
Chairwoman, we have Cynthia Graber for item 3. Cynthia, are you on the line?
I'm on the line.
Please
Thank you. I'm just going to finish what I was going to say. I've asked the city to grant 19th Avenue in Glendale the same safety program as 27th Avenue. If this does not happen and we lose out on our Net Squad and CAOs, our area will be even more doomed. Right now, every Phoenix citizen is at risk because of the decisions being made by someone to eliminate one Net Squad and one CAO for the Desert Horizon precinct. City of Phoenix, please grant the creative safety program for 19th Avenue. Please do not take this away our Net Squads and CAOs. Please think outside the box. Thank you very much. I know we're shorthanded with people, and you know what, whatever we can do to make our areas and our community safer, we're all there to help you. Thank you.
Do we have another speaker?
The next speaker signed up as Arcadia Neighborhood Association, and they are not on the line.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, our next item is item 4 is the 2021 Maricopa County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan. This item is for discussion and possible action.
Good morning, Chairwoman O'Brien and members of the subcommittee. I'm Brent Olson. I'm the Emergency Management Director for the City of Phoenix. And I want to thank you for allowing us to come before you to discuss the 2021 Maricopa County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan. Hazard mitigation planning is an essential part of a comprehensive emergency management program. The purpose of hazard mitigation planning is to identify natural hazards and the risks posed by those hazards that could impact the city, to identify actions and activities to reduce losses from those hazards, and to establish a coordinated process to implement the plan and projects identified to mitigate risks related to each hazard. There are 2 federal documents that provide guidance and requirements for local hazard mitigation planning. These are the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000 and Title 44 of the Code of Federal Regulations, Section 201, titled Hazard Mitigation. Combined, these documents require jurisdictions to engage in hazard mitigation planning and having that plan approved by the Federal Emergency Management Agency to be eligible for federal non-emergency hazard mitigation funding. Two of these federal programs are the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program and the Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities, or BRIC grant. There is also an increased emphasis on planning and public involvement, assessing risk and loss reduction measures, and ensuring critical services and facilities survive a disaster. Another requirement is that the plan be reviewed, revised, and approved by FEMA and readopted by the jurisdiction every 5 years to remain eligible for funding, and permits the strategy of using a multi-jurisdictional model to conduct planning as a region, as we have done in Maricopa County. The history of multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation planning in Maricopa County goes back to 2004. Maricopa County Department of Emergency Management led the planning effort, coordinating all of the local communities, including 2 tribal communities, in the development of the first Maricopa County multi-jurisdictional plan. The plan consisted of the county's hazard mitigation plan with individual community plans, including the City of Phoenix plan, added as individual annexes to the plan. The plan was approved by FEMA in November of 2004 and adopted as each community's official hazard mitigation plan in 2005. This process was followed again for the 2010 and 2015 versions of the plan, again adopted by each community, and for the 2021 plan, which is before you now. There were some unforeseen circumstances during this process that delayed the start of the planning until mid-2020. This planning would have realistically started in 2019. This type of planning, particularly on a regional level, benefits from expertise in the form of a consultant. Because it is a regional plan, it is also costly in resources and personnel time to complete. To fund this, Maricopa County applied for a federal mitigation grant to contract with an experienced consultant, J.E. Fuller, to facilitate the planning process and assemble the plan. This federal funding was delayed without explanation and was further exacerbated by the onset of COVID-19 pandemic. Once the federal grant funding was approved and J.E. Fuller, who was also involved in the 2010 and 2015 planning process, was again contracted to develop the plan, and planning commenced. All our deliverables as part of the planning process were completed by December of 2020. During this time, we continued to receive grant funding for mitigation projects that had been approved under the 2015 plan. We are, however, unable to apply for new mitigation funding until the 2021 plan is adopted by the city. The benefit of multi-jurisdictional planning strategy is the cooperation and collaboration between the communities in the region to complete the plan, while each retains direct control of the planning for their individual community. The result is a sharing of ideas and strategies in dealing with hazards that are common across the region. As part of the planning process, local planning teams are a critical component brought together by each community to discuss community-specific risks and planning specific to each city. To discuss this part of the process and for the City of Phoenix, I'd like to turn it over to Kim Gathers from our office, who is assigned the lead in coordinating the local planning process and was instrumental in getting this plan completed. She will discuss the key points of the plan as well as the process that was followed to get this important update completed.
Good morning, Chairwoman O'Brien and members of the subcommittee. As part of the collaborative planning process, a multi-jurisdictional planning team was organized by Maricopa County Department of Emergency Management. The team consisted of a primary point of contact from each jurisdiction, along with representation from ASU, the Flood Control District, APS, the National Weather Service, and the Arizona State Climate Office. This planning team met from July to November 2020. The local planning team consisted of staff from 18 city departments and functions, and a representative for the business community from Downtown Phoenix Partnership. The local planning team met from August to December 2020, completing all deliverables by the end of 2020. The local planning team was responsible for providing data, looking at development trends, inventory of assets, conducting risk assessments, and providing updates for 2015 mitigation strategies. The local planning team determined the following updates for the 2021 plan. The team identified 9 natural hazards that impact Phoenix: dam inundation, drought, subsidence, which is the caving in or sinking of an area of land. Fissure is an opening or breakage made by cracking and splitting. Levee failure, severe wind, excessive heat, wildfires, and floods. The planning process requires that we develop 2 mitigation actions for each hazard identified. The local planning team recommended 20 mitigation actions and projects. 15 were modified and carried over from the 2015 plan, as they are ongoing mitigation strategies that the city has implemented. The significance of listing these strategies in the plan is in the event funding becomes available, these projects are eligible for federal funding. Projects 1 through 4 focuses on the city's ordinances, general plan, CIP program, and the review and approval process for development projects. Project 5 is the summer respite program. Projects 6 through 10 focuses on plan maintenance and updates to the general plan, the drought response plan, building codes, zoning, and continuance of the water services outreach program. Projects 11 through 15, continuing the dam and levee safety program, continuing to provide resources and education on hazard mitigation on the city's website, adhering to the city's building standards and review process, enforcement of ordinances, and the study and mapping of subsidence and fissure activity. Strategies 16 through 19 are new mitigation efforts on the plan. These are programs and projects that departments are already doing. The design and construction of Rio Salado Oeste and Salt River with low flow channel improvement, parks, Take a Hike, Do It Right outreach program, and public transit's bus stop shelter program and increasing frequency of bus routes. The last project is a notification system for downtown Phoenix businesses and is being led by Downtown Phoenix Partnership. As part of the hazard mitigation planning process, it is strongly encouraged to have business partners, utility companies, and academia part of the planning process. Funding for the various mitigation efforts are part of the lead department and functions budget. In determining the financial risk to jurisdictions in the event of an emergency or disaster, a vulnerability analysis was conducted to provide estimates by hazards. Identify critical and non-critical facilities within the city exposed to the identified hazards is estimated at $7.8 billion. Replacement value for residential buildings exposed to those hazards is estimated at $167.5 billion. The financial impact in the event of an emergency or disaster outweighs cost estimates of recommended strategies. Another important component of the planning process is public involvement. In November 2020, staff from the Office of Emergency Management and Communications developed and launched a hazard mitigation public website that provided the public an opportunity to comment on the 2015 plan as well as the draft 2021 plan. Various informational links related to hazard mitigation were provided, a fact sheet was developed, and a link to access a 10-question survey in English and Spanish developed by Maricopa County Department of Emergency Management. A survey was conducted during the 2015 planning process. A survey was not conducted during the 2015 planning process. The survey was available from August to December 2020. As part of information gathering, primary zip code was requested when completing the survey. The survey was accessed a total of 1,188 times. A social media campaign ran for the entire month of December 2020 with new postings twice a week. We conducted a virtual town hall providing education and overview on hazard mitigation, the planning process, and the importance of public feedback and ongoing involvement. Some of the information received from the survey, and this is based off the 1,188 of those who accessed the survey and answered some portion of the survey. There were 524 responders who completed the entire survey. Individuals who have experienced loss to property or person within 20 years. The top 3 hazards: flooding, drought, and severe winds. Loss within 5 years, the top 3 hazards are drought, wildfires, and fissure and subsidence. Loss to property and the repair or replacement exceeded $1,000 were a result of dam and levee failures, fissure and subsidence, and severe winds and flooding. Injuries requiring medical attention or worse were related to fissure and subsidence, extreme heat, and wildfires. When asked the likelihood of a natural hazard causing damage to physical objects, responders rated the hazards from very high to very low. Extreme heat came out on top, followed by severe winds and flooding. Fissure and subsidence, along with dam and levee failures, were rated low. This same question was asked about personal harm or injury. And again, extreme heat is very high, followed by severe winds and extreme heat, and then flooding and severe winds. We learned from the survey that about 44% of those taking the survey are aware of the hazard mitigation plan and its purpose. The survey also showed 92% of those responding stated their home or business was not in a high-risk flood zone or special hazard area. Responders were asked what types of projects communities should focus on to reduce hazard impacts. Ranked in order of most favorable: structure and infrastructure improvements at the top of the list, followed by critical facility upgrades, environmental protection of natural buffers, regulatory standards, and strategic plans, then public education and outreach. %13% of responders stated they have flood insurance for their home. 1% said they have it for their business, and almost 4% have it for their rental unit. Some other comments we heard from the survey: a preference on receiving emergency preparedness information by email, more education and awareness of hazards, concerns of flooding in their area, and large concerns about the impacts of extreme heat. Going forward, we will continue ongoing citywide collaboration on hazard mitigation efforts and opportunities. An annual status update on the 20 mitigation strategies, along with updates to Maricopa County Department of Emergency Management, will be completed. And we will continue public involvement as part of our emergency preparedness and outreach. I will now turn it back over to Brent Olson.
Thank you, Kim. Madam Chairperson, members of the subcommittee, in closing, staff requests that the Public Safety and Justice Subcommittee recommends City Council adoption of the 2021 Maricopa County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan as the FEMA-approved hazard mitigation plan for the City of Phoenix. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to come before you today on this issue, and we are happy to answer any questions the subcommittee may have.
Thank you so much, Brent and Kim. Committee members, do you have any questions?
Sure, I do, Chairwoman.
Please go ahead, Councilwoman. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much. First off, I really just wanted to thank the Fire Department and Office of Emergency Management for the critical work that you do to ensure Phoenix is safe. I know access to city services are never in question because of the work that you do and ensuring that everything is well thought out and in place to make sure we respond to any hazard that presents itself. My team worked closely with you, Brett, in the early days to learn about the city's involvement in preventing and tracking heat-related deaths, and with Chief Walker to stay up to date on fires in industrial areas in my district. So really my question is around fire specifically, and looking back at 2021, we know the Friedman fire was a very unfortunate highlight. Has the city at all considered incorporating air quality mitigation in our hazard control efforts?
Madam Chairperson, Council Member Ansari, we have not discussed that specifically. We have discussed some of these informally with Office of Environmental Programs, particularly after the Friedman fire. It's something that we can certainly look at, and it's a very good question.
Okay, perfect. So you think even with the plan moving forward, it's possible to incorporate additions later on?
Yes, we assess each year, and we have to do an annual report to Maricopa County as part of this process, and we can certainly include that. Whether or not it is actually formally made part of the hazard mitigation plan, we can still look at it as a mitigation strategy. This is a 5-year plan. 5 years is a long time not to look at our mitigation strategies and what hazards we have to address. So we're constantly watching to make sure that we're covering what we need to cover.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, I think that would be great. I mean, as you know, Phoenix has some of the worst air quality in the country, and pretty much every day we get warnings about unhealthy levels, and many of the hazards you mentioned, such as fires, always can exacerbate that. So I think that would be helpful. But thank you so much for your work on this. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilwoman Ansari. And I actually have asked Brent and Kim if when they are getting ready for their annual updates to the county, that they also come back to the subcommittee so that we can be updated at those times, and certainly look forward to hearing more about air quality as well during those updates. Any other questions from committee members? All right, thank you both, Brent and Kim, for all your hard work and for the presentation this morning. Do appreciate it. And I believe we have a public speaker back on the line that we couldn't get earlier. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, Chairwoman. The next speaker signed in as Arcadia Neighborhood. Arcadia, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed.
Hi, my name is Michael Phillips. I'm a board member of the Arcadia Camelback Neighborhood Association. Calling on behalf of the community action officers. We were just informed yesterday that our community action officer, Jared Sherman, and over half of the other CAOs in the city were being cut. Jared has been with us for the past 4 years, and we've had the pleasure of being able to work with him during that time. Based on those numbers, services that they're able to provide now will be half of what they currently are, which is already stretched. It's our understanding that multiple areas are to receive cuts as well. Understand that this is due to a lack of manpower on patrol. As we look at the declining sworn officers and slow recruiting, we fully understand that personnel resources are tight. But it's, again, our understanding that the command staff and all the bureaus in the precincts provided numerous ideas and strategies which did not include cuts. Our ask is that the command staff and the city council please look at alternatives to preserve the existing CAO relationships. Eliminating these community action officers and other already established and successful parts of Phoenix policing really fails the safety expectations of our community. Community-based policing and partnership is the direction we and the city need to head. Reducing and reassigning CAOs reverses this progress. Efficiencies and trust that we have built is going to be not one that's reversible. Once served, the time to reestablish this trust comes at a great cost to our community. These neighborhoods have spent decades building up these strong levels of community involvement and trust with the city. Also on attendance is Tom Thomas, another member of the Arcadia Camelback Neighborhood Association. He heads our Arcadia Block Watch program, and I'd like to request if he's able to speak after me as well. He's got a number of items to talk about related to the impact of the Block Watch program, the police brand, and again, thank you for hearing us out. I know you guys have a busy agenda, and just calling as a concerned group of neighborhood here, taking one officer away from the CAO organization really cuts the connection to almost.
Thank you so much, Michael Phillips, for joining us this morning. We'll be moving on to our next agenda item. Oh, no, I apologize. We need action on the last one. I'm so sorry. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. We'll be moving to item 5, which is for information and discussion, is Street Racing Task Force update. And for that item, we have Assistant Chief Sean Connolly and Commander Derek Elmore.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. I hope everybody's well. Again, seated with me is Commander Derek Elmore, who leads our resources out at the Maryvale-Estrella Mountain Precinct. And we're just grateful to be able to have some time with you this morning to be able to provide you with an update on what we all know is a really important public safety and quality of life topic in our communities. We also abundantly realize how you have committed and support to us on this, and that support means the world to us. So we're looking forward to providing you with the success and some of the things we need to keep doing in this update. So I'll hand this over to Derek to further the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman O'Brien and subcommittee members. This is just an update on what's going on in the Street Racing Task Force. I am Commander Derek Elmore out at the Maryvale-Estrella Mountain Precinct. The task force is housed out of my precinct because the initial start of this was in the Southwest Valley. Hold on one second, I'm sorry. All right, sorry about that interruption there. The task force was started back in February of 2021 to address the outpouring of concerns, complaints, and calls for service that we were getting in the Southwest Valley. At that point, the Phoenix Police Department moved to dedicate a 40-hour reinforcement squad, which consisted of 14 volunteers throughout the city. We have an undercover component in that and an intel component in that as well to help with social media and other things to help direct the efforts of the task force. The task force also collaborates with a multitude of agencies throughout the valley to make sure that we're not just displacing the problem, but that we're addressing the actual concerns and issues around. We wanted to be good partners and make sure that the people around us knew what we were doing and we didn't just displace the problem into their areas. So we've been working collaboratively with several agencies on different items. Last year, we worked with ASU, Tempe Police, Peoria Police to address concerns that they had where they had over 300 vehicles that tried to take over the stadium near ASU. We were successful in breaking that up and preventing anything from happening on that. We also have a task force in the Southwest Valley again, addressing 4x4s in the Salt River bottom. That consists of Maricopa County Avondale and Goodyear and ourselves to make sure that we keep a handle on the activities that are going on there and that there's no further illegal activity or damage to the property down there. We have an ongoing joint task force with DPS to address all the street racing that occurs on the freeways throughout Phoenix as well. The task force collaborated with the city prosecutors and MCAO's office in order to create successful prosecutions in these cases. In the beginning, we were learning that we weren't giving or providing the right information to the prosecutor's office to have successful prosecutions, so we collaborated with them. We had mock trials and other things that we did in order to open the lines of communication and to basically hand over a complete case to the prosecutors once they got it. And with that, the efforts have been fruitful, and that prosecutions have been successful. One of the big thank yous that we have is to the subcommittee and to the city council for passing Phoenix City Code 3670.01, which allowed a 30-day impound for people who were racing vehicles in the city of Phoenix. That allowed a 30-day impound of those vehicles. To date, we've impounded over 220 vehicles under that code, releasing about 166 of those a little bit early due to the fact that the people met the requirements to get their vehicles back. With that code being passed, I believe that prompted the state to step in and also assist with the passing of 35 Arizona's Revised Statute Code, which allowed a 20-day impound on vehicles who were caught racing, obstructing a thoroughfare, and other reckless driving. Obstructing a thoroughfare was only a 7-day impound, but the 20-day impound also came with a $25 per day impound storage fee, which it was helped add a little teeth to our efforts and enforcement efforts and help stem some of the tide of the street racing that we were able to deal with. What's called an intersection takeover, or in this case, it's actually on private property. This is some of the dangers of what's going on. There was accidents being occurred, people standing too close trying to film, people hanging outside of the vehicle being injured. But sometimes this was happening in busy intersections and taking over intersections for a long period of time and causing hazards on the street. This is just one of the areas in which we have been effectively able to address these things and have success. The other type of things that we deal with is side-by-side racing, and this is one that's a little harder to deal with because it can pop up at any time and any place. Using our undercover units, which is what's going on here right now, they follow those units, get the information that we need, provide resources such as air units and other things, and call them in to the vehicles, which allows us not to get into pursuits throughout our city with these vehicles, but allows us to safely take them off when they're at a static location and they're not mobile anymore. This is just a quick example of
These guys
that.
would be good for side-by-side.
That plate from
all 3 trucks. They're coming up to 51st Ave now.
The speeds are very excessive in these things. As you see, our undercover vehicle will not try to keep up with them because it's unsafe at those speeds to be driving at that area that fast. Currently, our street racing task force, with the efforts that we've had, our major focus of the intersection takeovers has been reduced to about less than 5% of their time and effort because of the success that we've had with the UC units and the Intel units that are involved in that, and finding out where the locations are, going to those locations and shutting them down before they happen has made us very successful. So about 90% of what we do now deals with the side-by-side racing, which you just saw in the last thing, which is a little harder to find. But if we find locations where they're starting point from, we're able to integrate with them and then be successful in taking them off and have successful prosecutions in the end. What you see in front of you is some of the statistics that are involved in this. Some of the things that show the success that we've had is the calls for service for street racing in 2020 was over 6,200. Last year, that was reduced to 4,500. We're hoping that that trend continues as we go along. Citations in 2020 was over 2,000. This past year, we only issued 662 citations, showing the impact that we have had and the success that we've had in stemming some of the things that are going on. The charges that we've charged were drastically reduced from over 5,200 to just over 1,200 in 2021. So those just to show some of the success that we have with that. And also to show a little bit of that success is some of the social media posts that we received from the street racing groups talking about what will happen if they have racing days here in Phoenix. Over this past weekend, there were some incidents throughout the valley, which our street task force assisted other places with, but none of them, we were successful in keeping them out of Phoenix with their efforts to take over intersections. They are getting more and more aggressive, so it is important that we maintain the street racing task force to keep that element outside of the city of Phoenix. Thank you, and at this time, we'll take any questions.
Committee members, do we have questions for Commander Elmore?
I have some questions, Chairwoman.
Councilwoman Ansari.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you for the presentation. This is a very, very significant problem in my district, so I'm really happy that the program has been successful. I have a two-part question. Firstly, I'm just wondering if you can walk us through the process of how one may receive a notice of violation citation and ultimately get arrested.
So a notice of violation would be a parking violation that would happen. It depends if they were parked in an illegal area or a posted no parking area. A citation normally is from a moving violation that occurred and that was observed by one of the officers during that time. It has to be observed, and we have to issue it within 120 days. Those officers would then issue that citation and have them show up and respond to that to court. Thank you, Councilor.
I see. Okay. And then, Commander, can you, and I know you were just speaking to this point in terms of the program's success, but can you talk a bit more about how these warnings and the public outreach with the billboards, whether they've helped decrease speeding incidents, and if you have continued to see the same offenders continue to get cited after the first warning, or whether, once someone receives a warning, you've seen that problem be mitigated?
Chairwoman O'Brien and Councilwoman Ansari and the rest of the committee, yes, what we've noticed and what we tried to focus on is repeat offenders, people that keep coming back to the same incidents over and over again. The prosecutor's office is aware of those people who are repeat offenders, and the fines go up progressively in that manner. Because of the successful of the 30-day impound that the council put forth, we've seen less and less repeat offenders in the program and more success of keeping people outside of Phoenix because of the tools that you guys gave us to use to do that.
And are there certain areas of the city where you think the task force has been most successful, or where the hotspots still remain?
The hotspots have been the same, still a little bit in the southwest and northeast valley. I'm in Phoenix, city of Phoenix. But because of their success, a lot of it is going to other parts of the valley, which is why we are continuing to work with the rest of the valley on their issues and problems as well.
Okay, thank you. Chairwoman, you're on mute. I think I see you speaking.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman. Sorry. Thank you for your questions. So I would like to thank the police department for their hard work in making our streets safer. I would also like to thank Senator Boyer for championing the street racing law. And so look forward to your continued efforts in keeping our citizens and visitors safe in the city of Phoenix. We do, I believe, have one speaker on this item. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Mr. Daniel Herrera. Daniel, are you on the line? Daniel Herrera, are you on the line? Daniel, you appear to be on the line unmuted. Can you please turn up your volume?
Hi. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Please proceed.
Are you able to hear me? Okay. Yes. First and foremost, may I may I get the name of I'm sorry, the speaking right now? I think that's Officer Sean O'Connell. Just want to confirm that's his name.
Yes, it's Assistant Chief Sean Connolly and Commander Derek Elmore.
Assistant Chief Sean Connolly. Okay. Yeah, so my question was, I'm sorry, it's really lagging. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah, so my question was, what is the task force doing to ensure that, more, are you guys doing like any preventative efforts? Like, are you guys like trying to raise up new codes for cars, for like car mods and anything, just to prevent this from happening in the first place?
Apologize. I'm not aware of any current action being taken on preventative measures related to cars. Assistant Chief Conley.
Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee, no, not at this time, but I will tell you that Derek's team, the department, city law, and Phoenix PD law are constantly in communication as it relates to having to evolve and be conducive to what we saw with the impound. I think those are the types of things we have to be really intelligent and upstream on related to evolving with this. So our promise is that we will continue to do that, but for now, I think with the education campaign and a lot of that communication and the maintenance phase of this, we're seeing really good results as it relates to the type of enforcement and education we're doing blended with the impounding. So, but we will be committed to ensuring that if there are things that we see, we'll make that aware for everybody.
Thank you, Chief. Do we still have our speaker?
Daniel, are you still on the line?
Yes, that was all I had. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your participation. Our next item, thank you, gentlemen, for being with us this morning. Do appreciate it. Our next item is for information and discussion as well. It is an update on the Community Assistant Program. And for that this morning, we have Miss Ginger Spencer, Assistant Chief Mike Duran, and I think a few others, but I'm going to let you all introduce to make sure I don't mess it up.
Chairwoman O'Brien and members of the subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to update you on the CAP program implementation. Last year, Mayor and City Council approved $15 million in the city budget to expand the city's community assistance program for individuals contacting 911 experiencing behavioral and mental health issues or in need of emergency response. This included increasing the number of existing crisis response units of this long-standing civilian-only program in the fire department, and the addition of behavioral health units. At the October 26th City Council policy session, we provided a presentation and overview of our program implementation plan and timeline regarding staffing, fleet, facilities, procurement, and outreach. I want to thank our outgoing Fire Chief, Kara Cockbrenner, for her leadership and support of this program. And it's my pleasure to be here today with our new incoming Fire Chief, Mike Duran, and members of our multidisciplinary city team to provide an update on our efforts to date. And with that, I'll turn it over to Chief Mike Duran.
Thank you, Ginger. Thank you, Madam Chair O'Brien and members of the subcommittee for having us here today. With me, I have Assistant Finance Director TJ Martin and our Deputy Director of the Community Assistance Program, Dolores or DC Ernst. They will provide a presentation that illustrates the progress on the enhancement of the Community Assistance Program and the 3 procurement actions. Under the leadership of Deputy City Manager Ginger Spencer and the collaboration of several city departments such as Police, Finance, Human Services, Public Works, Budget and Research, we are moving closer toward the implementation of the city's program, which will serve the community with response to traumatic and behavioral health needs. At this time, I would like to turn it over to Deputy Director DC Ernst.
Thank you, Chief Duran. Madam Chair O'Brien and subcommittee members, it's an honor to be here to present with Director Martin on the expansion of the Community Assistance Program. Today we'll be focusing on the areas of fleet procurement, locations for the new units, implementation of the behavioral health units, hiring staff, procurement actions, and finally we'll end with a timeline of the implementation. In September of 2021, the Public Works Department placed an order for 23 vehicles needed for the expansion of the CAP. Public Works has received a notification that there will be a delay in receiving these vehicles. We anticipate receiving the vehicles between July and October, with the majority of the fleet arriving between July and August. To ensure that these delays do not impact our implementation, the Public Works Department will be identifying vehicles that will be utilized until the new fleet arrives. During the budget hearings, we heard the community's comments regarding the behavioral health teams not looking like first responders. To meet the request of our community members, moving forward, our vehicles will be white with the City of Phoenix logo and the name of the department. In addition, we are reevaluating our uniform requirements. The City Manager's Office, Real Estate, and CAP continue to evaluate options for locating crisis response units and behavioral health units throughout Phoenix. Goals include city-owned properties. We are currently also meeting with community stakeholders to discuss the opportunity of collaborating with them by placing CR and behavioral health units in their agencies. In addition, we're identifying locations with freeway access to ensure a timely response. The implementation of the behavioral health units has led to the creation of CAP's dispatch review team. This consists of police and fire communication divisions, CAP personnel, and fellows from the Harvard Kennedy School's Government Performance Lab. The Government Performance Lab fellow has provided the team with research and information on how other jurisdictions across the United States have determined call types for their alternative response teams. The GPL fellow led a brainstorming session to identify calls for Phoenix and has provided examples of questions asked by 911 operators to identify behavioral health related calls which can be used to dispatch the right resource at the right time. The CAP review team is continuing to review the City of Phoenix data to identify call types for diversion to the behavioral health units without police or fire response. In the first year of implementation, CAP anticipated filling a total of 86 full-time equivalent positions. To date, the following positions have been filled: the CAP administrator, 4 casework service coordinators, and 8 caseworker 2s, specifically filling positions on the crisis response units. Additional hiring continues. Interviews for the caseworker 3 positions are scheduled for this week. We will continue to work with the Human Resource Division for recruitment and hiring of the caseworker 2 positions. In November 2021, City Council approved the expansion of the city contract with Gun Communications, Inc. The City of Phoenix staff and GCI are developing strategies on engaging the community. GCI is identifying opportunities to utilize planned community meetings for engagement. This includes reaching out to the mayor's office, city council members, neighborhood services and neighborhood services division and other city departments to identify planned events. GCI will be conducting outreach during February and March. As part of the outreach, GCI will provide information on CAP as well as a QR code to complete a 5-minute survey. The surveys may be completed in person if the events are held in person. GCI's final report is due at the end of March. Now I'll turn it over to Assistant Finance Director TJ Martin to provide an update on telehealth and peer recovery support RFP process.
Thank you, DCE and Chief Duran. Madam Chair O'Brien and members of the committee, Central Procurement conducted 2 competitive procurements in support of the CAP program. A summary of those procurements are as follows. For telehealth, a solicitation was published on November 29th and responses were due on December 27th. Following a consensus review, the evaluation panel recommended award to MedAlly. For the Peer Review Recovery Support Program, a solicitation was published on December 2nd with responses due December 28th. Following a consensus review, the evaluation panel recommended award to both Teros, Inc. and Impact. Central Procurement will seek council authority to award contracts to the recommended vendors during the February 16th formal council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Martin. The next 3 slides are an overview of the timeline of implementation for the behavioral health units. This slide illustrates the information that has been discussed during our presentation, as well as it estimates a March completion for the contracts for telehealth and for the peer recovery supportive services. This slide, CAP continues, I'm sorry. On this slide, we show that CAP continues to anticipate recruiting caseworker 2s and peer recovery specialists in March and April of this year. We will be working to finalize the standard operating procedures for the behavioral health units and hope to have that completed by April. And we will implement our first behavioral health team at the end of April. We anticipate by May we'll be able to identify the new locations for the CR and behavioral health teams. In anticipation of staffing and implementing the new units, once we find locations, Public Works will have identified the vehicles that will be used prior to the arrival of our fleet vehicles. Finally, we plan to be back before this subcommittee in August to provide another update. Thank you for your time. Chief Duran, Assistant Finance Director Martin, and I are available for questions.
Thank you so much, all. Do we have committee member questions? Okay. I would just like to say thank you for your innovation and creative ideas, and again, once again, working with the community to find locations for our staff to work out so that they will be closer to some of those calls, and for working with Public Works to find additional vehicles in this time where supply chain is affecting us negatively once again. I do appreciate, and I believe the committee does, an update on this program. We're excited. It sounds like that we'll have our first team ready to go the end of April. Is that correct?
Madam Chair O'Brien, yes, that is correct.
And how many total teams is our goal with this particular at the beginning?
Madam Chair O'Brien, the totality is 9 behavioral health units and 10 crisis response units.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that. And then I believe we have 2 speakers on this item.
Yes, that's correct, Chairwoman. We have Ms. Bernadette Baso, who does not appear to be on the line, and we have Mr. Tom Thomas. Tom, are you on the line?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed.
Yeah, my desire to speak was regarding the CAO, the Community Action Officer, not the CAP. Is it appropriate to request time to speak?
We'll allow it. You marked item 6, and so that's why we believed you were on this this item. But go ahead.
My bad.
Yes, no problem. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have at Arcadia Camelback Mountain Neighborhood Association, I just wanted to put in a plug for the Community Action Officer Program, Madam Chair and Councilman and Councilwomen. We are totally in support of the CAO program and hope that ways can be found to work with the commanders and the police to oppose the cuts and find creative solutions to continue the program as it is working extremely well for us. Our Community Action Officer and commanders, when available, attend our monthly board meetings, annual board meetings, speak to our communities about block watch, crime, safety, prevention, invite people to do ride-alongs, which I've done. And I just wanted to say, if you can remember one thing about what we feel about it, we think that it's about brand. The police brand this day and age is probably seeking opportunities for some kind of positivity, which would help in their recruiting and the hiring, and just it's very positive. We engage the police in our GAIN events, getting neighborhoods involved programs. They come meet the people, the children, and it shows good relationship that's built as children who are there getting a hamburger served by a policeman to the adults that are there, etc. It doesn't sound like much, but it really promotes the police brand. And I just wanted to say that thank you for your time. I think our years of working together with the police has been invaluable. And we actually feel that we neighbor in the Arcadia Camelback Mountain area. There's about 2,300 homes. We work as an extension, sort of a softly mobilized extension of the police force. They know us, they look at our ring tapes, and we've helped them and they've helped us.
Thank you for your comments, sir. We do have some questions from Councilwoman Ansari. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Firstly, just want to say how excited I am, I think, like all of my colleagues, about this program, and really appreciate all of the team's hard work in getting things up and running despite the various challenges. I'm wondering, and this is kind of a broad question, but if I remember correctly from earlier presentations, around 18 to 20% of calls, 911 calls, are mental health related. And we know that our challenges around the Human Services campus and just with our unsheltered population are growing significantly by the day. And then at the same time, we have an officer shortage that we talk about, and obviously getting a lot of calls today about the CAO, the Community Action Officer Program, which is great, but basically two very different issues that I think CAP hopefully will really help with. So I'm just wondering if someone could talk to, just for the community's sake, about how we expect the Crisis Assistance Program, once it's up and running, to really help with both of these simultaneous challenges of hopefully easing up the burden on our police officers, but then also better being able to support folks who are dealing with mental health issues.
Chairwoman O'Brien and Councilwoman Ansari, thank you for those comments and the question. So the intent of the expansion of the Community Assistance Program is so that we can have that alternative response. When the team and mayor and council working with community were looking to expand the program, one thing that we heard from police officers and community and for individuals experiencing mental health crisis was that they were looking forward to an alternative response. So by having these behavioral health units in place, by having additional crisis response units, these are civilian only teams that will be responding to these calls. As our program administrator, DC Ernst, mentioned, we have been working closely with the police department as well as our 911, our call centers, to identify which calls can go directly to the CAP program. And then also what I'd like to say is we have a multidisciplinary team, and one of the other things that we're doing is working with our Human Services Department, who also receive monies from Mayor and City Council to assist with mental health. And so with all of these efforts, we think that we're going to really be able to provide increased services and improved services. And part of that is working with the unsheltered community. So as part of the survey that we're working with GCI, where we're going to be going to community events, our program administrator, DC Ernst, thought it was also very important that we get in and work and survey the unsheltered community as well, so we can identify how the program can best meet their needs. And I don't know if Chief Duran or if DC Ernst would like to add anything to that. But just know that we are working very closely with the police department, human services department, and other city departments to make sure that we're providing wraparound services in this area.
Thanks so much, Ginger. Yeah, I just really wanted you to have the opportunity to reiterate that, because I've just noticed in a lot of my conversations with constituents, even with very engaged members of the community who I know are paying close attention, there still are a lot of people who don't know that this program is coming or is being expanded and that we've invested so heavily. So if I have one recommendation on the outreach front, it's just that I think that's going to be people are very, very excited about it when they do hear about it, but I'm just personally surprised to hear how many people aren't aware that this is coming. And I think, it's a positive story to tell from the city. So that would just be my recommendation, is to really focus on outreach. And, whether there was several principals, as an example, principals of schools who I informed recently about it, who had no idea, but were absolutely thrilled to hear about the crisis assistance program.
Excellent. Are you done, Councilwoman Ansari?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for your comments and questions. And I want to thank you all for your presentation this morning, Chief Duran and DC Ernst and Administrator Martin. If you could indulge me and have Chief Kalkbrenner come to the table, I would appreciate that. Thank you so much, Chief Kalkbrenner. I do appreciate it. I think it is important for us to acknowledge that this is the last time you will be with us in the Public Safety and Justice Subcommittee, as your retirement is next week. And I just want to thank you for your outstanding service to the City of Phoenix and our citizens since 1985. And I know some people say they're not very good at math, so I'm going to do that math, and that's 37 years of service to the City of Phoenix and the fire department. When she was named chief in about 8 years ago, sorry, my math's not working so well right now, 2014, there were only 2 other women chiefs in the United States, with fire departments as big as ours, or roughly the same size. So what an incredible accomplishment. As the daughter of a firefighter, your family has also made sacrifices, so thank you to them. And I do hope that you will enjoy your retirement and know how much that you will be missed, given your great contributions to ensuring our Phoenix Fire Department is able to superbly perform their duties not only every day, but that we are well prepared to go into the future because of the foundation you have built. So thank you so much, Chief Kalkbrenner. I'm sorry we're not there in person, but I did want to acknowledge your long service and my eternal great gratitude for it. Any other comments? right. Thank you so much, Chief Kalkbrenner.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Great. I think we don't have any other call to the public. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. Future agenda items, members? Okay. Hearing none, then we will adjourn the meeting at 10:46. Thank you all.
Supporting this great treasure. Next to the podium is a great steward of Phoenix history, our city manager, Jeff Barton.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, staff, for recognizing and organizing this commemorative event, and good morning to everyone. And as the Mayor said, happy Thanksgiving. I'm thrilled to be here today. I am an avid historian, as many of you know.